Hi all, Hayırlı gün, good day, добрый день. This stream will be in English. Hello, people from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all Russian-speaking area, and many other Central Asian countries. Good to see you. Today we have Usoro, a product manager from Kolesa Group. This is Central Asia's leading e-commerce holding. They have a lot of projects, and feel free to type in your questions in comments. If you watch this as a recording, you can type in the comments as well. We will respond afterwards. And Usora, thank you for joining today. I have prepared a few questions before other people type. I will ask product manager. It's extraverted person, but in your opinion, what type of hard skills does a good product manager needs? Oh, you are a little bit muted. Sorry.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for inviting me here. I'm very excited to be here. As to your questions, so you say that the product manager is an extroverted person. I actually think it's a stereotype because, well, I see where the stereotype is coming from, because management in general and product management specifically is always about working with other people. So you have to attend a lot of meetings, you have to give like a lot of presentations, you have to speak with a ton of folks. But I don't think it necessarily requires you to be an extrovert. It just requires you to be a great communicator. And introverts can be great communicators too. And in fact, I think introverts have an advantage in communication, because introverts are usually great listeners, and being able to listen well sometimes like takes you further along the road than just being able to speak well. So in fact, I myself, I am an introvert, and some of the strongest managers I know are introverts too. And I'm sure that some of the like strongest managers you all know are introverts too. For example, like let's take Bill Gates, for example. He's an introvert. So if you're an introvert, you can be a product manager, but be prepared that it will be a little bit tiring, because you won't get much alone time, and as introverts we need this alone time. But if you manage your time well, I don't think it will be a problem. So if product managers are both extroverts and introverts as well. As to what hard skills you need as a product manager, I think there are like three big areas that I think you have to be proficient in. First is like basic business skills. So you have to be able to like read the P&L sheet. You have to be able to build like a basic revenue forecast. So you have to know what's the difference between like revenue and profit, because you will be dealing with business and with the stuff that is like that relates to economics. So you have to understand these topics well. So that's the first thing, business and economics knowledge. Second is basic project management knowledge. And I know that there are some companies, and especially in Kazakhstan, where, not especially in Kazakhstan, I know that there are some companies where product managers are not responsible for the process of delivering the product to the market. But more often than not, especially in Kazakhstan, I think product managers are also responsible for managing the development team. They're responsible for like allocating resources, for managing the timelines. So you're doing some of like the projects managers' work. So you have to be able to like manage this well, and you have to know like what the project management methodologies and frameworks are. So that's the second big area that you need to like be proficient in. And third, I think, is working with data. And like by working with data, I don't mean that you need to be a math whiz or a data scientist, but you have to be able to make sense of the numbers, like to make sure that you understand what your customers want and where you can improve, and like how your product is performing. So you need to be able to define like and track key performance indicators, for example, like user engagement, retention, conversion rates, like revenue. You need to know about A/B testing, because it's a very powerful tool that can help you like to determine which of the version of your product or feature performs best. So that's that. So I think like three basic areas: business knowledge, project management, and working with data.
It's quite intensive set of tools. And by the way, I forgot to tell people from Mongolia also hi, Tajikistan, many other countries, even in Afghanistan, we have viewers, and in India and others. And you mentioned you're an introverted person. Could you briefly tell about your story, your like story? How did you get into product management? And also, you mentioned that in some companies they manage backlog and engineering part. And what about your case in your company? I don't know if it's appropriate to share. Thank you.
I'll start from the last question. Yeah, it's totally appropriate to share. We're a pretty open company, so we like at my company we usually manage the backlog as well, and we manage the development team. So we do project management work as well, and I think it's because in our company there is a belief that like if you're the generator of an idea, you are the best person to deliver this idea to the market. And since it's the product managers that usually like generate ideas, they are usually the ones who do deliver it to the market. And like this process of delivery involves working with the team. It involves like backlog prioritization. It involves like setting deadlines and like tracking these deadlines. So yeah, as to your first question about how I became a product manager, it's like my path to product management is long-winded, I think, because I started out as a lawyer, as a law student. So my first education is like a law education. I went to KIMEP for international law, but then I realized that law is not for me because like academically it's very nice and interesting, but like practically it's not the thing that I want to do like in all my time. So I decided to drop out and go traveling for some time. And during my travels, I met like a lot of folks who were working in IT, and it was kind of appealing for me at the time because I saw that these people are like they're free to choose where they work from. They're free to choose what they work on. So that was very appealing, and I liked it a lot. So when I returned to Kazakhstan after my travels, I decided to give IT a shot. Basically, I took some online courses in programming. I read some books about backend development and so on. And then I went on to become to study marine engineering in college. So I didn't go.
In KBTU, because I think we only have KBTU.
There is a maritime academy in KBTU. I didn't go straight for programming because I think I wanted to travel more at the time. So I decided to become a sailor. Went sailing. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean. It was fun, but the seasickness it made me like so sick, and I felt so bad. So I decided that no, sailing is not for me.
Did you see whales? Other whales in Atlantic?
We didn't see whales, but we saw a lot of dolphins and flying fish.
Oh.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun, and I still want to do it, but not professionally. And so when we get back from like our little sailing trip, I decided to basically study programming because it also allows you to like move around the world freely, and it was interesting to me. And there was a programming school in Astana. There still is. Yeah, Alem school. So I went there, I got into it and studied there for about a year. And there at Alem, I met some product managers who told me about their job. And it was like, then I realized that I'm not interested in just programming. I'm interested in a more wide array of product development. So I'm interested in technology, I'm interested in marketing, I'm interested like in data analysis, and product management is a role that like combines all of these things together. So I decided to give it a shot and applied to an intern position at Kolesa Group. And surprisingly for me, I got in. So now here I am. It's my third year as a product manager.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations. It's quite, I think it's really one of the top companies to be. By the way, on the sailing, I also kind of I only sailed once, and I was yesterday, just coincidence, I was watching yachts, how much they cost in Turkey you can buy yacht for 30K US dollars, so need to work a lot for this.
But I think it's not that expensive.
But I don't know, you need to maintain it. If you buy yacht in Turkey, you can sail to Atlantic, right, via Mediterranean.
Well, yeah, you can.
It's a long sail. And we have a question from Talab. Which books do you recommend for junior products?
Oh, okay. About books, there are several like good books that you should read. First is it's not about product management. Actually, it's not about management at all. It's about habits and forming and like maintaining habits. And I think it helps you become more structured in the way you live your life and in the way you think. So it's Atomic Habits. I don't remember the author of this book, but it's pretty good and it helps you a lot. And about like books specifically for product managers, I think like if I were to choose only one book, it would be Inspired by Marty Kagan or Kagan. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but he's a former CEO of Etsy, and he wrote like the book about creating products that customers really, really love. So yeah, and I think like in product management, the most important thing is to create a product that users love and to create like the experience that people will want to tell about like to everyone they know. So yeah, Inspired and probably another, well, not a book, but a series of essays by Paul Graham. He's a pretty famous figure like in startup scene.
Like a better guy, right?
Yeah.
I think he became a book writer somewhere in England.
Yeah.
Talab says thanks to you. And thank you, Talab, for question. I know Talab is streaming from Astana. You mentioned you studied via online courses and internship, which led to employment 3 years ago. Market changed, and today there are so many these IT schools, even in Almaty, all across like the region, and many people start from go to IT field from data analytics or from product management. I'm not sure if there is like some analytics. In your feeling, is there like space, room, a lot of like open positions to start as product manager today?
I actually think that there are a lot more open positions today than there were like 3 years ago. So if you're just starting out, I think the market is not so bad, especially in Kazakhstan, because I know that in Europe and like in the United States, the market is like very tight right now, and you'll have a lot of trouble getting into the market as a junior. But in Kazakhstan, it's much easier, and there are a lot of companies that are hiring product managers. So like fintech companies, like some banks, like Home Credit Bank, I don't know, Freedom Finance. I have a friend actually who is a junior product manager who got hired at Freedom like basically like 2 months ago, and he didn't have a lot of experience starting out. So yeah, I think it's as good time. It's as good a time as any to get into product management, especially because there are like a lot of resources, a lot of courses, like as you said, like a lot of IT schools that teach you product management. So if you want to start, just start now. Yeah, I'm sure you'll do well.
Oh, that's awesome, because I met a lot of young people, students, kind of worried about the employment, so it's not so bad at all. And Ahmed Hamza Jandubi, Ahmed, which country are you located at? Because I asked because maybe we could discuss your country, because Usoru mentioned Kazakhstan. Maybe I don't know if you work in Uzbekistan. I want to ask, do you know Uzbekistan situation, or you don't, Usoru?
Oh, I don't know about the situation in Uzbekistan. I heard like the tech sector in Uzbekistan is growing at a pretty fast pace these past few years. So I think like there are also more job openings for product managers now, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I asked because I heard that your company launched some operation in Uzbekistan. That's why. Ahmed is from Tunisia. So is it a comment or question? I think right now Ahmed says the soft skill is the most important. The hard can be replaced.
Yeah.
Or AI.
Actually,
Yes.
if it is a comment, then I agree with this comment. Yeah, because like each hard skill that like a product manager like has can be replaced by AI at some point, and I think will be replaced by AI at some point. You have tons of tools that like make your life a lot easier. So I think as a product manager, you should focus like on your soft skills because they are much harder to replace, and they're like I think much more important in your job than hard skills, because hard skills are like it's easy to learn them, but soft skills you can learn them only with practice and like by being in situations that develop them.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Hamza. Tunisia, I think we are not capable to discuss Tunisia. It's a little bit big distance between Central Asia and Tunisia, but I think it's also like should be booming market, right? It's also like, but Tunisia is closer to Europe, and it should be kind of also good perspective for product management. And I promised to Sora that it will be 20 minutes, like maybe 30. Nevertheless, guys, if you have questions, type them, because I only have my last hidden question. It's about the types of companies where product managers are necessary. It's kind of leading people to advise in which type of companies you advise to search for or apply to, or why. Sorry for my English. I mean, for example, we have some legacy companies like railway or like some mining companies. They have IT business analysts, and I know that they mostly don't need probably product managers. We have some startups, we have some pure digital native companies which need product managers. Maybe it's my perception. And it's kind of like business analysts are being substituted by product managers. It seems. And what do you think about this? And second question, where do you recommend to apply, in which type of companies, ideally? Well, if you're in Kazakhstan.
Like my personal opinion, if you are a beginner product manager, you should start at a like smaller scale company, almost like a startup, or like if it's a startup, I think it's an ideal choice for you as a product manager at the beginning of your career, because like at bigger companies, many things that you would do at a startup are like hidden away from you. Because like for example, if you want to perform some research, there is an like data analytics department for you. If you want to do some marketing, there is a marketing department that can do like marketing activities for you. But as a startup, all of these things are usually done by a product manager, and it allows you to gain like a lot of experience in many different domains. And I think what makes a product manager like a great product manager is like being able to like interface and speak with people from different domains. So by working as a smaller scale company, you'll like get a taste of like many different things first, and then you can move on to like a bigger company. As to which like companies or industries are like best for product managers in Kazakhstan, I think well, there are a lot of companies in fintech in Kazakhstan that are good and that are like doing interesting things like product wise, so you can try them. And some like e-commerce marketplaces, so I see a lot of them like developing and growing in Kazakhstan, so you could try them as well. So basically, yeah, if I forgot some part of your question, you can ask it again, because I'm not sure if I answered like your question fully.
Yeah, it's totally fully. I just had while you cover it another detalization. It's about you also mentioned you're doing project management within your job, And if you manage engineers, sometimes like onboarding new engineers or team members, it makes project take actually longer time. Because you explain to them. So how do you handle it? Do you use some, I don't know, what kind of collaboration tools like Jira or Trello? If you could share some tips on this, because I know your company is good at this.
Yeah, we use a standard set of tools. So for like task tracking and task management, we use Jira and like all the like Atlassian software suite. So we use Jira for task tracking. We use Confluence for documentation. And like if a new person comes like to work on a project, then we send him like all the required documentation in Confluence. He can like read everything he like needs to know about the product there. We usually try to document as much stuff as possible to make life easier for like newcomers. We also use like Power BI and Upmetrica for analytics, but I think that's not relevant to the question. But basically, yeah, we use Atlassian products, and for meetings we use Google Meet. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Please type questions, otherwise we will finish shortly. There is a question from Talap. I'm not sure actually. It's because Talap Osuru mentioned he was not an engineer. He does not have engineering background. And Talap asked how to move from tech engineer background to product manager. I think, I don't know if you can answer.
I think I can answer this question. I have some thoughts on this. Basically, I think if you want to move from like software engineering to product management, you should start by taking on more responsibility for yourself. So if you see that some part of your product like has problems, or some part of the user experience needs fixing, you can like just come up to your product manager or like a project manager or product owner, I don't know who manages the product, and tell him about this. And don't just tell him about the problem, but offer him a solution to the problem. And this will help you become more visible in your company or like in your field of work, and it will help you get acquainted with the process of like finding like the problems that users have. So first, start by taking on more responsibility. Second, if you're coming from software engineering, if you're not like in like software management positions, for example, if you're not a team lead, then you should definitely look into like managing people more, and you should learn like to lead people, because product management is not about just like finding out like some cool new features and ideas like that can improve your product. It's about managing people, and you'll be dealing with people a lot. So I know that some software engineers are not used to that. They're not used to like conflicts. They're not used to like long meetings that are going on like every day. So you'll have to get used to that, and you have to start working with people more. So if you can find a role within your company that will allow you to lead people or like manage some product or some like part of your project, then you should try and get into that role. So for example, if there are like open positions for a team leader or for like software engineering manager, then you should apply to them and just try this first, see if it works for you, see if you like management at all, because you may not like it. And then after this, I think like the move to product management will be quite straightforward. So if you see any open positions, then you can apply to them. You'll already have some experience like in managing people and in improving your product.
That's awesome. That's quite deep answer. Thank you very much, Usoro, because we are in the time limit which I designated to you. Maybe we should repeat this because I already have some questions on project management and other stuff. Maybe audience will also have questions. So if you have time, we can meet another day, maybe.
I'll be
March, April. It's been a pleasure. Let's meet offline someday because I'm also in Almaty most of the time, and people say thanks. Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye. Good evening.